listening to Under the Umbrella podcast. Each week, we'll discuss various topics under the umbrella of the LGBTQ community. And I'm your host, Angel. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Under the Umbrella podcast. I am your host, Angel, and today's subject will be LGBTQ advocacy. And our amazing guest today is Steph Perkins. Steph Perkins is the former executive director at PROMO, which is Missouri's statewide organization advocating for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equality through legislative action, electoral politics, grassroots organizing, and community education. My wife and I met Steph after experiencing discrimination while planning our wedding, and he has been stuck with us ever since. Hello, Steph. Welcome to Under the Umbrella podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So I wanted to just get straight to our talking points for the podcast. So I'll get just straight into the question. Will you please tell us about PROMO and the amazing work you did as executive director?
PROMO is this incredible organization in Missouri. I'm the former executive director there. It's the statewide LGBTQ advocacy organization for the state of Missouri. They have incredible staff. Their new executive director is also incredible. He just started a couple of weeks ago. His name is Steven, so it's very close to me. So
Oh,
I'm very
cool.
excited for him. But the work that they do is so important. There are LGBTQ organizations all across the country, and to have one in Missouri is really important. Missouri sees all sorts of anti-LGBTQ bills. There were almost more anti-LGBTQ bills filed this past legislative session than have ever been filed before in the state legislature. They attacked things like transgender students, trans athletes. They would have prohibited trans folks from accessing healthcare, including transition-related care. So it would have been harder for trans folks to get hormones and medically necessary surgeries, all sorts of things. But they were able to stop, PROMO and its partners were able to stop all of those anti-LGBTQ bills, more than 20 of them.
Wow.
And then also work to proactively pass pro-LGBTQ bills and just support the LGBTQ community overall. It's still legal to fire someone, evict them, deny them public services just because somebody is LGBTQ, even if they are paying their rent on time, even if they're a great tenant, even if they are a great employee who is doing their job well. You can still fire someone just because they're gay or transgender, and it happens.
Yes.
And so trying to proactively pass laws, but also just stop bad ones.
Wow. Yeah, I've had conversations. Of course, I moved from St. Louis and shifted over to the Midwest. I'm sorry, to the West Coast in Phoenix. But I remember when I was working and I would talk to people about that kind of stuff, and they just would look at me kind of like I had three heads. And I'm like, no, this stuff is real. Like this stuff is so important to get these laws changed, and a lot of companies, of course, are changing their hiring practices to put in place the wording that says they don't discriminate because of sexual orientation and all that kind of stuff, which helps. But legally, you can get fired from your job from being, as I keep referring to, as under the umbrella, and it is so disturbing. So your work that you've done is greatly appreciated. You've done a lot behind the scenes that people don't know. So it's nice to get your face out there even more. So I can't thank you enough because, I met you dealing with some discrimination after I was planning my wedding. So you're greatly appreciated. The next question I have for you says, please discuss the laws in Missouri that affect the LGBTQ community that you've worked tirelessly to change that many are not aware of.
I mean, you know, everything affects LGBTQ folks. The unique thing about LGBTQ people is that they exist in every single community, nearly every single family, every single county. So anything that affects everyday folks affects LGBTQ folks even more.
Hmm.
And so LGBTQ people face higher health disparities. They are more or underinsured. Some of that
Hmm.
is because they're or underemployed and can't
Uh-huh.
get that insurance through their job. Um, some of that is because of other health disparities, like, if you get fired from your job, it's harder to have a home, it's harder to have health care, it's harder to just
Hmm.
kind of take care of your family. Your mental health is at stake then. Um, there's everything that goes into the daily life is affected. LGBTQ folks are affected and often not protected in the same way everybody else is. So
Mm.
not just non-discrimination laws around employment, housing, and public accommodations, but also access to basic medical care, access to identification. In 2016, Promo worked to pass a policy that made it easier to change the gender marker on your driver's license. And for some folks, that might seem like a small thing.
Right.
But for transgender people to have accurate identification means the world. It means that it's easier to get into a bar and order a drink. It's easier to apply for student loans, to open a bank account. If you get pulled over by the police, they are more likely to believe you, who you are. Sometimes you talk about it's how dangerous it is for trans folks to just drive because it
Hmm.
can be this spiral, especially trans folks of color, but this could be this spiral thing. So if you get pulled over, they show your ID, the ID doesn't look like you, and it doesn't, if I get pulled over and my driver's license says female, there may be a question like, is this you? You stole a driver's license. So then they say, like, is this your car? Well,
Right.
my car registration is going to match my ID because it's my car. But if they don't believe that my ID is mine, they may think that I stole a car. Then if I get taken and booked, or
Hmm.
even just taken in to be questioned, what happens to me? Am I booked as a female? Am I booked as a male? And my question is as a female, and my question as male. So it's just these like step by step by step things that can spiral very, very quickly and put folks in a really dangerous position. And so there's a lot that goes into just all these what seem like tiny steps for policies like updating the gender marker on your driver's license more easily, that keep people safer and help them just live their life and go through the steps of their life. The biggest thing that Promo has been able to accomplish over the last few years is really just holding the line. We saw a number of policies proactively passed to protect LGBTQ folks during the Obama administration. And I don't, like, I can certainly get personally political about this, but, Promo doesn't support or endorse or not endorse federal candidates. So this is not to say anything pro Obama or pro Trump unless you want to talk about your personal feelings. And I know that there's, like, you can probably guess my personal feelings, but just to kind of show a marker in time, during
Hmm.
the Obama administration, almost 150 policies were passed to protect LGBTQ folks. More than half of those have now been rolled back under the Trump administration. And so
Wow.
those policies at the federal level were able to help folks at the state level just, again, get through their day and have a little bit more protection in the things that we all experience.
Hmm.
And with those being gone, it's much easier for states to continue to take away rights for folks, much easier to enact things that make it harder for LGBTQ people to live their daily lives.
Hmm.
Even though we have marriage equality as of 2015, there was still a bill filed last year or this past session, so in 2020, to to change the definition of marriage and restrict same-sex couples from being able to get married in the same way all other couples are. So these things are still ongoing and still
Wow.
under attack,
Hmm.
even though they're law. So that's all to say that Promo works to pass these like small policies behind the scenes. You may not even know that they're getting passed. You just get to benefit from them, and also hold the line so that things don't get worse for LGBTQ people.
Wow. Wow. You have so much knowledge in that nugget of yours.
I've been doing this a long time.
um, okay. Many do not understand the need for equality within the LGBTQ community. Please explain the importance of equality.
Yeah, I mean, if folks don't have someone who's LGBTQ who's really close to them, or they're a close friend or a family member who's able to
Mm,
talk about the experiences they're going through, this can all seem hypothetical and wrong, because it is. You know, if you have a job and you're great at your job, how could you lose your job if you weren't doing something wrong? How
right,
could you lose your home or be denied your application if you can pay your rent and you're a good tenant? How can you be denied someone making you a wedding dress if you can pay for it and you're getting married? That seems so silly to people because it is. And
mm,
so it's very hard to believe that these laws are not protecting everybody, that people would discriminate against someone just because they're LGBTQ. And
mm,
unfortunately, part of my job at Promo was to take complaints of folks who were discriminated against, who did lose their jobs, who did not have the same protections, who lost their homes, who were denied services. And so it is easy to believe that everybody has equality already, because that's something that we all value and believe.
right,
Unfortunately, it's just not the case for so many people. And so just having this like basic access to everything that everybody has all the time is not as simple as just believing it to be true. It's not as simple as saying, like, I think that everyone should be equal and so they are, because that's just not the world that we live in. And
yeah,
so unfortunately we have to pass laws to have like a bare minimum threshold. These non-discrimination laws are not about how to treat people on a daily, just like in regular conversation. It doesn't say you have to be nice to people. It doesn't say that you have to care for people. That's what we value and we want to come from some of these things.
mm,
We want people to care for each other and love each other. And most people who don't believe that these laws should exist still have the best of intentions. They think that the government shouldn't be involved in things like this, or they think that everyone should care about people the way that they care about people, and that's
right,
good. But all these laws say is that if someone's doing a really good job and there's no other reason to fire them, you can't fire them just because they're gay or transgender. You can't kick them out of their house just because you find out a couple is a couple and not two roommates. Are they paying their rent? Are they good tenants? Are they doing everything that they should be doing based on the contract you have them, you both have signed? Great. You cannot kick them out just because they're LGBTQ.
mm,
And so this is a hard thing to grasp, because it just seems so simple, and it's not that simple when it comes to laws.
yeah, yeah. You just hearing you say all of that, when I interviewed Tiffany, we were talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's another episode. That's another episode, and equality, that would be another episode by itself. And I just got a ton of ideas about that. Like, just some people, like you said, they just don't think about some of the most simplistic things. Um, oh yeah, you just gave me another idea for another whole show. But
Good.
oh my gosh, I know how busy you are, Steph, and I am just honored to have you on my show. And um, I would love to have you on as many times as you're able to come on, because you are just an amazing person. And um, I'm just grateful that we've crossed paths and that I met you, and to know that so many people are out here in their own way fighting for equality. And um, I don't know, I'm gonna get choked up, but just I'm so I'm so grateful for you. And even though we're not in the same city anymore, we're still, at least we're kind of close to each other
I
now.
know.
But thank you so much, Steph. I appreciate you so much. Thank
I
you
appreciate
for
that.
all of your hard work that you've done and that you continue to do. Um, if you all see him, those of you who may see this on YouTube and you see him out, give him, I'll say, an elbow bump because everybody's freaking out with touching one another. Give him an elbow bump. He is an amazing person, and it's an honor to have you on. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I love you and Tiffany so much. I'm so glad that we're a little bit closer in geography now,
Yes,
and I will
and we
definitely
love
come
you
to Phoenix
too.
and see y'all. And I would love to talk with you more any other time about trans folks in particular. I know
Okay,
that even people who are supportive of same-sex couples and their gay and lesbian and bisexual friends and family don't necessarily understand transgender people as well. And you don't have to understand someone to give them respect or care for them, but sometimes it does make it easier when you understand people. So, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. Yes, I would love to have you back on for that topic. I
Well,
sure will. And I know you're busy, so I'll give you time to, get the holidays out and all that kind of stuff. And whenever you're ready, I would love to have you back on for that topic. Yes.
it was good to see your face. Thank you so much for this.
You too. Thank you so much, Steph.
Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Under the Umbrella podcast. Check us out on Instagram at UT Umbrella, on Facebook at 1UT Umbrella. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Under the Umbrella and visit our website at utumbrella.com. As always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. If you had a question to submit for the Ask Angel segment, please submit to contact@utumbrella.com. See you next week.